Hi everyone, my name's Sam, and welcome to the third episode of a series on this channel I simply call Technology, a show where I show you anything technology related, whether it be old or new. For this episode, I'll be attempting to modify this standard action camera head mount into something that can be used to mount a phone on my head. Okay, so what I have here is a cell phone and an action camera head mount. Now, they do make solutions for this, and they sell them on Amazon and AliExpress and Wish and stuff like that. But I think that those head straps are more designed to hold smaller phones. This is just an Oppo phone. But it's got a bit of weight, and it's not a bad phone. It's actually pretty good. In fact, a lot of the videos that I make are actually filmed with this phone. But what happens is when it's actually screwed in, it does hold the phone quite well, but it's got a tendency to it does just kind of flop down a little bit. You know, you're trying to record a video, it's extremely unstable. I just realized that it would actually be that way if you were trying to film. It really does, it wobbles around on your face. I'll give you an example. Okay, so I've put the phone on my head. Yes, it looks ridiculous, but I'm at this stage in my life where I really just don't care. And I just want to make videos, I want to make content. And to do that, you've got to do some ridiculous things, I think. So, but I think this is going to be quite normal soon, and maybe it is now, to see someone with a phone strapped to their head. I mean, you'll just see someone randomly walking down the street, they'll be walking down and they'll have a phone and you just think nothing of it. I've got it loose right now, just to demonstrate what happens over time. And when okay, yeah, that happens, right? So you're just trying to film, and then you're just phone's all dangling down, and it's a mess, you know? Hi everyone, thanks for watching so far. If you enjoy this content, please consider giving it a thumbs up, and possibly also subscribing. This will help my channel grow and reach a larger audience. I decided to show you how this project turned out early in the video. However, I do hope you watch till the end. I'm slowly working on improving my video format. This should improve in future videos. Thank you. So my goal with modifying a head strap, I've actually got another one that I brought to make the modification, because I need this for action cameras and stuff as well, not just mounting the phone. But so you might think, why would I put a phone on my head when I can just put an action camera on? Well, it's quite simple. The focal length of the phone is actually really good. It's equivalent to around about 50 millimeters. If you're using a full frame sensor on a camera and you have a 50 millimeter lens, that's about the focal length that you would get. If I use the action camera on my head, the further something goes away, the smaller it looks. It's like, because the action cameras have such a wide angle lens, they see a wide field, whereas you could almost think of using a phone to like almost zoom. It's not really a zoom, it's just the focal length, but it kind of does actually make things look closer. So my idea is to put a type of maybe like a metal, keep the middle strap here, but put a metal support brace in there. And I also want to, instead of mounting the phone right on the front, I want to kind of mount it here, maybe about there. And also I want to use this mounting hole here. So I'll put it about there, and then the bottom piece of this can maybe rest there, and that should give it quite a lot of support. I've actually ordered a bunch of parts from Amazon to help with that. So I've ordered a little cold shoe mount and another little something from Small Rig that allows you to mount a 1/4 inch screw into here with a little ball joint, and hopefully that should give me enough support that will actually hold a phone quite well. We'll go out and start planning the the metal strip. I've actually got a piece of stainless steel that I want to use, and I'm going to cut a strip. Okay, so I've got this piece of stainless steel here, and what I might do is actually put that on there, take a little measurement. So it's actually 33 millimeters. I'm just going to measure 33 from here. I'll put a mark there, and I'll go to here, put a mark there. I'll draw a line from that mark there to that mark there. And just make sure that's about the right... What? It's 37. How did I measure 33? 5, 6, 7. I swear, when I do things off camera, it all works perfectly. For some reason, when I'm showing things on camera, nothing's working. I can't measure, I can't do maths. Okay, so what I have to do is cut that, and the only way to cut this stainless steel is with these giant tin snips. And what I actually have to do is I've got to do this on the ground because I can't do it on the bench. So what I'll do is go onto the ground. I'll put that there, and I'm going to actually cut to the outside of that line. This stainless steel is some of the hardest metal I've ever had to work with. Once I get it started, it should be alright. I try to remove that little... I'll tell you what, I'll stop the video and I'll come back when this is all cleaned up and straight. I think that's the best. What I'm going to do now is just deburr this edge. This is actually extremely sharp, so I'm just going to go through with the file like that. I don't want to do this too loud because it's going to distort my microphone, but basically what I'll do is I'll just file that off, I'll round those edges off and make it so that I can handle it safely. Okay, so now we're going to design the other piece that will go up here. So what I'm thinking I will do is get rid of these first. I wonder if I can just rip those off here. I'll get rid of those. Oh no, maybe I should cut them. There we go. So what I'm thinking of doing is might have something about that wide, and then so what we want to do is have it so that this fits on there. So basically what I'm creating is something that's going to actually, this is probably a better example. I found this out in the shed, and it's sort of in the shape of what I want actually, but you would think, well, why didn't I just use this? The problem is that this weighs probably more than the phone and the rig all put together, so combine this with the weight of the phone and the weight of this and that, and then it'll just fall off. Basically what I'm trying to design is something that's going to hold that there, and this will be able to be slipped on like that there, and then that there will be sort of mounted like that, and that might actually also rest on this plastic part here or something else, depending on where I place it and the design of it, or it'll just rest there, and that'll just give it like a lot of support. It only has to be big enough to... What I'll do is I'll just draw a line pretty much straight across there, and then I'll put that there, and then I might do a line. I quite like making things out of cardboard first, kind of just making a template. So you make it out of cardboard, and then it's way easier to make. You can basically trace the cardboard template onto the metal and make it out of metal. So there we go, we've got that there. I've got a bit more on this side than that side, but that's alright. So what I'm going to do is I'll fold that down, and then I'll give that a fold as well. And that basically that is the same distance as our main support. That will eventually be curved around. That will be the case. But for the time being, we can use this one here just temporarily. So I think it'll be mounted somewhere like that. Now the problem is that the design here, I've got to be careful with what the type of shape I produce, because I can't cut inward angles, so I can't cut something that would be like this. I couldn't cut that out, but I can cut the opposite out. I can cut that out like that. So we're going to put that there. I might have to just create a straight edge, even though it's going to be curved. I do that down to about there. Maybe. Let's look at that. As long as it's something that I can cut out, I can do it. So I can cut that one, I can cut that, I can cut that, and I can cut that. That looks quite good. And that also leaves a gap under here for the strap to pass through. Alright, that's neat. Okay, let's go with that there. What I'll do is I'll cut this that way. That way. When I cut this with the tin snips, I'm going to have to be quite careful. And now what I can do is basically fold that over to perfectly halfway, and then I'm just going to basically trace what I've got here onto that side like that. This piece is really not that important. It's just a template to see if I can fabricate the piece of metal that I need. So there we go. I've had to bend it in the center, but that's all right. And now the idea behind the tabs here is I can bend these over once I've cut it out. I can bend these tabs down and pop rivet them to that part. I just want to make sure that the angle that it's going to sit at is actually going to be practical. See, that's sitting a bit high, you see? That's all the way up in the air with that angle if I do it like that. I think this needs to be a little bit, I think the angle needs to be different. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll pause the video, and I'm going to do the same thing roughly again, and I'm just going to create a better cardboard template that would work for this with a better angle. Then once I have that template, I'll go back out into the shed and we'll start to actually fabricate it with metal, and also we'll start to build the whole thing. Well, I'll round this out and we'll rivet the bracket on the top and we'll get that all screwed in, and then we'll come back in here after that and evaluate it. Okay, so I decided to change the design a little bit. I've got 3 pieces now. The reason for that is that the other design wasn't giving me enough forward angle, so I designed these 2 pieces here that can go on here, and that will go onto there with rivets. Now I had to make it into 3 pieces, because with the tools I have, just tin snips, I can't actually cut out inward angles like that. I can only do stuff like that. Also, I know I mentioned in the video that I was going to use stainless steel for it, but I think I've got this little piece of aluminum here. It's very thin, but it's making it out of this is going to be much easier than trying to work with the stainless steel. So what I'm going to do is just trace out my patterns here onto the aluminum and then cut them out. I think the way to do that would be with a time lapse. I've copied the template onto the aluminum, and I've got these tin snips here. They're quite old, but they're still good. And actually the reason I wanted to make it out of aluminum is because it's technically like cutting through cardboard. Right, so there's a piece. It looks a bit crooked and bent, but that's alright. It's just a matter of grabbing the pliers and straightening it out. To make this out of the stainless steel would have been really hard. It's quite soft aluminum, but I think that once it's all built up, it's going to be strong enough to hold a phone. I don't want to cut too far on that, so I'm just going to break that off with my fingers. What I'll do on this side here is I'll cut down here. So I'm going to try and cut on the inside of that line that I drew so that I get the same size piece of metal as my template. There we go, there's a piece. And then there's this piece here to cut. I'm going to have to cut straight across on that one. And I'll just break that off. There we go. Okay, so there we go. We've got from template to aluminum. So just have a feel. See. Oh yeah, I think that it's going to definitely be strong enough. I mean, it's quite good. What I'll do is I'll straighten all these out, and then I'll put the camera back on when I'm ready to make the bends, because I've got to put a bend here and a bend here. Okay, so I've managed to sort of flatten them out a little bit, and I also used the file to file off the burrs and the sharp edges, so I've removed that. Now there is another little thing that I want to try, just to try and get them a bit flatter. I'm going to put them between two pieces of wood here, and then I'm going to squeeze them in the vise like that, and hopefully if I can get a bit of a clamp on there, we should make them perfectly flat. Well, kind of. And of course I'm going to use these little pieces of wood to make the bends pieces, but before I do that I'm going to drill the holes, because I realised that if I bend them first and then try and drill the holes, it's going to be quite difficult. It won't be hard. I think it'll just be easier and make a bit more sense if I drill the holes first. I think what I'm going to do is I'll put some marks in where I want the bends to go. Alright, so I'll scribe a line there and scribe a line there. Scribe a bend in there, and I'll scribe a bend in here. Right, so that's where the bends have to go. What I'll do now is I'll switch it to a time lapse, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark out the center of where I want the holes to be, and then I'm going to center punch them. And once I've done that, I'll reactivate the camera. Okay, so now I've got the drill here. I've marked out the holes where I want them to be drilled. This is just a standard rivet drill, and I've got these rivets here that I'm going to try and use to actually rivet it together once I make the bends. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll just put that up like that, and I'm going to hold it with these pliers here just for a little bit of extra grip. Now hopefully I'll just make sure the drill's going the right way. Now, right, there we go. We're through on that one. There we go. Okay, there's one. What I'll do is I'll get these cleaned up, because I've got to clean the burrs up on here, and we'll come right back, and then we'll bend them in the vise. Okay, so I've set up the two cameras for the different angles. I hope that is actually in focus. I'll just stick my hairy arm there, and if the hairs are in focus, we're good. Okay, so I cleaned them up a little bit, and I also drilled this slightly larger hole. So now I can fit that screw through there. Working with aluminium is pretty good. However, when it comes to bending aluminum, you only get one shot, because you can only bend it once. You can't bend it back. It does not, it just snaps. If I put that in there like that, between the two pieces of wood, so I'm not getting the vise grip marks on it, because the aluminum is so soft. So if I put that in there like that, I'm just going to have to put my head in here, make sure that it's absolutely perfect. Alright, so I'll do it up tight. Now I'm either going to have to use this here to bend it. See if I can. No, I don't think I'll risk that. I'll use my big trusty piece of wood that I used on the RC project, and then I reckon I just bend it down like that. There we go. Look at that. Perfect. Alright, that's pretty good. I probably shook the cameras quite a bit there, but necessary. It's not too bad. Bend the other one. We want that to be bent that way. Just a piece of wood. Hey, we're getting somewhere. It's not quite straight. The nightmare here would be bending it the wrong way, but I think that's pretty good. So should be good. Yeah, that's good. Now please be the same length. There we go. Couple of parts. First of all, I want to apologise for any noise that you hear. We've got a lot of construction going on at the moment. Now, where we left off last night was I completed these pieces, and what I'd done off camera was I decided to cut off the two end corners there. Right at the moment, we're going to work on fixing these to here, and also mounting the cold shoe to here. Now, when I brought this from Small Rig, they were nice enough to include a couple of little grub screws. So what I'll do is I'll just find the center of this here. I think I'll do it on that side. I'll go from this corner here to that corner there, and then I'm just going to put a little line there. And then I'm going to go from this corner here to that corner there, put a line. So that there is the center. That's exactly the center, but that's not necessarily where I want to drill the holes. And then what I'm going to do, get it all lined up in the center there, and I'm just going to put one dot there, one dot there. Now I'll just check that. Yeah, that looks good. Now I will center punch that. What I'm going to do is just put a center punch right in the center of that dot. So one, and then one right there, one there. Yeah, perfect. There we go. Now I will change the drill bit to the smaller one. That hopefully will allow me to put it in the pliers. I've got my safety glasses on, and now I'm just going to put a hole where that center dot is. Oh, it might help if I tighten the chuck on the drill. I tell you, making stuff on camera is way harder than making it off camera. I don't know what it is. I guess you're trying to make it look, you're trying to produce a video and make something at the same time, and it's quite difficult. There we go. Now let's see if I got that right. Yeah, it's a little bit off. I must have got a little bit of drift on the drill. So I just used this file, end of the file here, to clean off the burr. Okay, there we go. Now, fingers crossed that this actually works. So that'll go through there, and then that there will go through there. Yes, it works. Look at that. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so next part is mounting these to here. Now what I'm going to do is just place that on there like that, so that the edge of that there pretty much runs flush with the edge of that there. Now I'm going to take the marker pen and then draw a circle directly in the center of each one there. Now I'll do this one. I'll make sure that I've got the gap and I've got that there like that and flush and straight. I could, I could measure them, but measuring is not always going to mean you've got something straight, because there are slight inconsistencies with the holes. These holes are not drilled completely perfect. They look it, but they're not. And if I measure a distance from here, all correctly, and then I go to actually put the part on, you'll notice that one of the parts could be slightly crooked. Okay, so now I will center punch those and drill. Which drill? This one. We need this drill bit here, which is the rivet drill. Now, what I'll do is I'll perfectly center punch these holes. If I put it in the center of each dot, it's critical that I get the exact center. Otherwise, even just 1 millimeter off will make the whole thing look stupid. Well, I mean, it's still going to function, but I like things to be straight. I don't like crooked things. It doesn't look good. Okay, there we go. We've got the 4 holes. That's very good. So what I'll do is I'll use a smaller drill bit and drill a small pilot hole. And that should stop the drift. And I should have done that with those other ones, but I thought that the hole that I was drilling in there was quite small anyway. So we'll get those drilled out with a pilot hole. This just helps to keep things centered. Alright, pilot hole's drilled. Let's change the drill bit and put the rivet drill bit in. Then we'll make these a bit larger. And there's 4. We'll do a quick little test. Those line up quite well. Yes, those line up well. Okay, I'd say that's successful. Okay, so I've cleaned up the burrs on here. Now the next part is riveting these to here. Okay, so now we're going to use this rivet hammer to insert the rivets. So just make sure that I've got them the right way. That one goes there, that one goes there. Alright, so I'm going to grab the rivet hammer here, put it there like that, and then I think we just squeeze that there and then hope that it does its thing. There we go. Alright, first rivet in, successful. So now we just do the others. I've got 3 more here. Alright, put that one there. Brilliant. Okay. This should end up being quite strong when I'm finished with it. Should be Alright, there we go. So that's that. What I'm going to do now is put on that there. Put that little washer there. That one there. And I've got a little lock washer for each one as well. Alright, now I've got a little Allen key here. And a tiny little spanner. And I'm just going to tighten that up. Just tighten that up. Okay, that'll do. Okay, so there's the part. It looks good. That's pretty cool. That's sort of what I wanted. So anyway, let's put this rivet hammer away. All I need to do basically is bend this over that there to create the shape, the basic shape that I want. And then of course I can just sort of bend it here. We'll get there. what I might do is go and stand in front of the mirror for a little bit and then try and just get this to the right angle so it fits my head. And then I also want to figure out the best placement for that there, where it's actually going to mount really good. So I'll go and get that sorted out, and then I'll come back and we'll drill the 2 holes for here. Okay, so I spent the time and I went in front of the mirror and I worked out the best placement where that should be, and I worked out maybe about there, and that looks about right. So what I'm going to attempt to do now is drill the holes for the rivet. No, not for the rivets. For the mounting screws here. This stuff here, I think you use this for tapping screw taps, but I like to use it when I'm drilling holes as well. Okay, let's see how fast we can get this through. There it goes. There's one hole. And 2 holes. Now I just have to remove the burr. Get rid of the burr with that there. Okay, that'll do for now. So that's the front of the strap. That there fits neatly inside there. And then that goes to the back, and I'll be sorting out how to actually mount. I'm thinking of just putting a couple of cable ties around there, and that should hold it on. Now this here needs to go, so now you'll see why I left the gap in the middle, because the fabric will actually, the elastic will go like that, and that there will go on the other side, like that there, and the holes match up perfectly. Now that screw there goes through the hole there, and now hopefully, oh no, we're good, I've got a washer to go there, and then I've got a lock washer, and then I've got the nut that hopefully will fit over that there. If I can get it on, if I can screw that in, we'll be good. There we go, it's going in. Yep, there we go. Now put that through there. Put the other washer on, the other lock washer, and then the nut. So what I'll do is I'll get that tightened up, and we'll just go back into my studio and we'll finalize the video. So we're back in the studio now, and as you can see, I've put the mount here. Now it's just a matter of putting some removable cable ties through here. I drilled 4 holes because I drilled these ones here, and then I realized that I was supposed to drill them here. That one there, that hole there, don't worry about that. That's actually nothing, because this is made with recycled materials. So this is just a piece of scrap stainless steel that I used. I'll also just point out that this has been modified. This is just your standard action camera head strap, and I've cut this front off here, but this design that I've built, you can actually use one that doesn't have the front chopped off. You can still use this design with an unmodified head strap, so it's completely non-destructive. So you can add it on when you want it. When you don't want it, you can take it off, which I think is really cool. And also removable cable ties. They're brilliant. So what I'm going to do next is we just pull that up there and then thread that into there, and then the cable tie will go through the top part here. We'll just go all the way there, and then it goes through that hole there. It's a bit tricky to do. I've already done it before just to test to see if it works, so I know it works. We thread it through that one, and we pull it through there. So then we go through that there, and then you just thread that through there. Right, now it's just a matter of chopping that off. There we go. So that's the front part on. And then the back one here, we go the back here through the bottom hole. You pull it through. Put it like that. Alright, do it tight, chop that off. So we've got that there, we've got the strap on there. Of course you can put it on. I'll put it on shortly. The next part here, we're going to grab this small rig ball joint, and then we're going to just slide it down there and then tighten it up. And then all you have to do, I should have put this on first, but that's alright. You just install this like that. Give that a tighten. And then of course, because I'm using the small rig ball mount, you can make adjustments to the angle of the phone. Okay, so now that we've got that together, I need to do one more thing. I've got some foam that I found here, and I want to put a little bit of foam in the back part here, and then I want to put a piece of foam there and another piece there. I could have cut this as one piece, but it didn't quite work out like that, but that's alright. So I want to leave a little gap just there so we can still take that cable tie out if I need to. So what I'll do is I'll use some super glue. I'm just going to put a little bit on, put a little bit like that. Right. Now I can glue that in there, just like that. That should actually stay there. It dries fairly fast, this stuff. Now I want to just, and you'll notice that I'm not putting the glue over the screws on this one either, because I still want to have access to the screws if I want to take it off at some stage, which I probably won't. It's turned into such an amazing project. I mean, I'm tremendously happy with this thing. Okay, so that one there's on. Right, and then I'll just put that there, right in there like that. So there we go. So I'll let this dry and I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so here we go. I've mounted the phone on, and it's quite secure. Feels really robust. I can actually put it on right now. So it just sits on my head like that. It could do, like, the length at the back here, it could come down just a little bit more, like the metal part. The elastic would stretch down. I just feel like it could do with a little bit just more support at the back, but it's alright. Like, I can bend my head down, I can put it up. I don't want to go too far, just in case it does come off, but it's relatively quite good, and you don't, it's not gonna flop down like it. One thing we have to do, we've got to take it outside and actually give it a test, and I'll show you some of the test footage. Let's do that right now. Okay, so here we are testing out the phone head mount. I've come to an area, a redwoods area, and I'm just looking up and looking around at everything. Have a little look around. What I will do though, for the footage that's on my head, I will be stabilizing it in the editor just to make it a bit smoother, but you probably do that anyway. But then depending on the phone that you're using, some phones have really good stabilization, some phones not so much. I know for a fact that my one doesn't have very good stabilization, so if I really try and wobble it a bit, you might notice what's actually happening. Have another walk over here. We sort of want as much example footage as I can get, really. Alright, so that's we'll finish off the example now, and that's the end of the video. So thanks a lot for watching if you made it this far. It's one of the biggest videos I've done so far on YouTube. Thanks a lot. This brings us to the end of the video. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you want to see more content like this, feel free to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.